Alright, everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV after a cracking 4-2 win against Leicester on a Friday night. Welcome to Scoring the Players. Welcome if you're joining us from the live fan reaction, or if you've watched the instant reaction with Sam, or even saw me and Karl earlier on the watch-along as well. Well done for tuning in as long as you have done. I'm joined by Karl and Adam tonight. How are we doing, lads? We all right?
Over the moon, mate. Over the moon.
Yeah, same, mate. Absolutely buzzing. It's 11:15 and I feel like I could stay up another 6 hours.
At the ending took it out of us, though. I mean, bumhole was twitching a little bit, but we'll get to that later on. Yeah, we're pretty much safe. Technically, still not safe. Officially, we're still in danger of being relegated, but I think after this weekend, results come in, and I think if Fulham or West Brom, both one of them fails to win or something, we should be all right. A couple of games left of the season. Sheffield United and Fulham to play for us. We should be fine. Should be fine. Which is, it's nice to see people on Twitter eating their words. I saw someone, I quote tweeted someone earlier who said that Newcastle wouldn't pick up a point until the end of for the rest of the season, and I made them eat their own words. But anyway, this is about scoring the players. We'll be scoring the entire starting 11 for Newcastle United, as well as the subs, and of course Steve Bruce, who usually gets a slating on the show. We'll go left to right on my screen. So Karl's on my screen on the left. Start with Martin Dubravka in goal. Many people saying he got man of the match today. What were your thoughts, Karl?
Yeah, I personally thought he was man of the match as well, but I can appreciate why people would choose other people. I just thought he was excellent, mate. Made some fantastic saves, especially the save towards the end from Jose Perez, because if that goes in, then it really, really is squeaky bum time. There was another save in the first half that was a fantastic save. Obviously, couldn't do much about that Albright and Stinger top bins. But yeah, I thought it was a solid. Well, I'll give him a 9, mate. To be fair,
that's fair enough. I think he was kept us in it definitely. I think I rattled off in the stream. I rattled off the saves he made. I think he was one from Vardy, one from Iheanacho, one from Perez, and one from Fofana. That's 4 goal-saving saves that kept us in the game. So yeah, I think a 9 is absolutely a fair rating from you. Moving swiftly on then, because I think that's pretty much cut and dry. I don't think there's any arguments from the comments or anything like that. Jacob Murphy, I'll take the right-hand side. I thought it wasn't his best game in a Newcastle shirt, but it certainly wasn't his worst. Did really well to contain any attack down that side. They didn't really threaten at all down his side. And he had an excellent outlet pass in the first half to send Callum Wilson through, who puts it on a play for Saint-Maximin, who couldn't finish his dinner today for some reason. But I'm going to give Murphy a solid 7 out of 10. I think pretty bang average today. Didn't put a foot wrong, but didn't do anything particularly outstanding. Deserve a higher rating than that. Obviously, as always, let us know in the comments down below your ratings. If you agree, disagree with us, we get that interaction going. We can slate you for wanting to give Dubravka a 1, or if you want to give Joe Linton a 10 for his little cameo. But yeah, we'll get involved, and don't forget to drop a like on the video as well if you're enjoying it at home, and subscribe to the channel as well, of course. Moving on to one of the makeshift back 5, Adam, we'll start with Emil Kraft in that back 3. What did you make of him today?
Pretty much the same as Jacob Murphy, man. So I don't think I could sit here and criticise him too much. Jamie Vardy didn't really get a good sniff during the entire game. The odd chance he had, but not usually the menace he is. Kraft brought him down once or twice, tackles he had to make. But yeah, I think I'd give him a solid 7. I've seen him have a lot worse games for Newcastle. I don't think he did himself any harm today. Solid performance, yeah. I owe them in all the lads.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair as well. Didn't put a foot wrong. He has had some awful games. I'm glad today wasn't one of them, because it could have really cost us today if he'd had a bit of a wobbler.
I mean, I was a bit worried when I seen him on the team sheet. Obviously, Clark's been a bit out of form, and he's made a brave choice today to switch it around a bit. And fortunately for us, it worked.
Aye, fortunately. Luckily, Fabian Schär might have cost us a goal or two today. We never know. But yeah, we'll come back around to you then, Karl. We'll start with the only centre back, or the only recognised centre back in that team, if you're not counting Paul Dummett. Federico Fernandez. What do you make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was a lot better tonight. I think he's starting to get back to the consistent Fernandez that we all know and love. It was pretty much a brick wall. I think if I'm clutching at straws, he possibly could have done better with the second goal. But other than that, I thought it was fantastic. Cleared lines over a dozen times. Communication across the back five was better, and we just looked a bit more solid with Kraft with Fernandes rather than Kieran Clark, which is something I never thought I'd say. Yeah, I think I wouldn't say I wouldn't say he was a cut above everyone. I just felt like he kept everyone together. And I think I'd probably give him a 7 as well. I wouldn't say he did anything extra to warrant any more. I thought the whole back line was pretty consistent, so 7 for him as well.
It's pretty spot on. I think. I mean, Adam, how important has he been, or how important have the guys that have stepped up been? You know, we're missing Lascelles, we're missing the leader at the back. Fernandes has really stepped up today. He had a really good performance leading the back line today, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I would have went higher than that. I mean, I thought he was excellent today. We wouldn't that game today if it wasn't for him. Really, at the back, he was solid. He was throwing himself in front of balls. Just class today. You know, he's with the captain missing, Clark out of form, Shah missing. There's a lot of pressure on people like Fernandes. He's got Kraft, next to him. So yeah, big game for him. Big game.
Yeah, a lot of people in the comments there agreeing with you, saying maybe slightly higher, an 8 out of 10. Because he, like you say, he marshalled the back line very well today, as well as putting in a solid defensive performance. Paul Dummett, I don't mind taking him. Fantastic, really. Didn't put a foot wrong defensively. Can't really criticise him for the goals. It was his side that Albrighton's shot came from, but I think everyone was just a bit discombobulated when that ball came in. But chipped in with a massive goal. His first, I think Sam said, since 2016. Yeah, and set us on our way, really. That was kept the momentum going. We obviously nicked the first one nice and early, and then capitalised on that momentum. If he doesn't put that one in, then maybe we don't keep the score ticking up, and maybe we don't win the game. So great performance from him. I'm probably going to give him an 8 just because he chipped in with a goal as well as a solid defensive performance. He's just Mr. Consistent, really. Very rarely puts a foot wrong. I know he's not been on his best form in recent weeks, but neither's the whole defence. But I don't know if you lads agree. I thought he had quite a good game today.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I wouldn't say anything different at all.
No, I thought it was possibly a fault for the second goal. But that's, maybe he's nitpicking a bit. We got, but no, couldn't disagree.
And then makeshift left wing back Adam, Matt Ritchie, stalwart for us for a while now, stepped up. Jamal Lewis is non-existent anymore.
Yeah, I love him. It's as I said on last week's show, it's no coincidence since he's come back in the team. In the fold, we're actually playing better. We're fighting for every ball. I thought the first half performance from the team, like it was just a Matt Ritchie performance, closing down everyone. I thought he was excellent today. He got 2 assists. He got the corner and his ball through for Callum Wilson, which was Phil. I'm going to go a 9 for Ritchie. I was over the moon with him today, and it was his commanding. Every time people were giving the ball away, he was on the backs. His passion, what you want to see from someone. We always ask for that, just someone who cares, someone who wants to play for the club. Him and Bruce have had their issues, but it's been put behind them, and it's better for the team when he's in it. We've had the debate loads on the show about who should be Lewis or Ritchie, and there's no question who it is, and he's everything we want a Newcastle team to be about, in my opinion.
Do you think he's still next season? We're for investing in players over the summer, and just hypothetically, if Steve Bruce is still the manager, do you see Matt Ritchie being a part of that starting 11 or a part of the squad, or do you see him moving on?
Definitely part of the squad. Matt Ritchie's not going to be happy sitting on the bench a lot, but he's certainly someone good to have in the dressing room. If he isn't going to be playing, is there better left wing backs out there? Yeah, of course he is. Probably it is an area we do need to improve on. But the thing is with Matt Ritchie, when he's given the opportunity, he doesn't balls it up. He usually does play pretty consistently. He hasn't had many bad games in Newcastle show over the last 3 or 4 years. And I just thought today, as when you set pieces, you need them spot on. The corner for Dummett was, to point. And when you counter attack them like we did, when he got the ball, you have to play a quick pass, and he did. And he got us 2 goals today.
Yeah. I mean, that assist for Wilson was fantastic. We basically went ourselves off on the bloody watch along. As you said, the pinpoint, the curve that he gets on the pass to bend it around the last defender right into Wilson's pass, just phenomenal. Absolutely incredible little player. We're very lucky to have him on our hands. Karl, we'll come to you for Joe Willock. Fantastic player, deserves his place in the starting 11, undoubtedly. Another great performance from the young lad.
Fantastic, mate. He's like you said, a lot of people have been willing for him to start as well, and he's come in and got the job done. on the score sheet again. He literally is a saviour for this team at the moment. It's people joke about putting his statue outside the ground already, but yeah, I'd love to sign him. And I know you spoke about it in the watch along, mate. You weren't convinced when we first signed him. It's something you wasn't completely happy with. But I know you said yourself you swallowed your words after what he's done for us. So he just looked a threat every time he's on the ball. He's always willing to bust his ass to get into the 6-yard box. 4 goals in his last 4. I just thought he was standout player in the midfield as well. And I think I'll give him a 9 as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Adam, do you agree with that?
Yeah, you could have went full 10s for Joe Willock today. His energy was unbelievable. The amount of times he was nicking balls off their midfield. He's earned his place in the team. Longstaff, I'm not criticising Longstaff, but you can see the difference. You can see the difference is that bit extra quality when Joe Willock. 20-25 million, just go and get him. We can develop him here, and he'll become a fan favourite, no doubt. But it's big money, but he's earning it.
And this is without Isaac Hayden in the midfield. We're missing our best holding midfielder, and you can imagine the creativity that these lads will be able to have. You got Saint-Maximin, Willock, and Wilson. You can build around that team with Hayden in there. So we should really be looking to get him back in, no matter how much it costs, really. And I think he's not got too long on his contract, so he should be ideally fairly cheap if we wanted to bring him permanently. And I'm sure they wouldn't be against another loan deal for him, to be honest. Yeah. But we'll see how that comes in the summer. That's one for the summer to talk about. Plenty of rumours flying around there. Jojo Shelby, I'll take him because I'm usually his biggest critic. I'll have to hold my hands up today. I thought he did fantastically well in the holding role. It's not his best position. We know that. We know he doesn't like to put the graft in. Doesn't like to track back. Doesn't like to track his runners. Doesn't like to cut the balls out. Doesn't like to put a lot of effort in short. But today he was absolutely fantastic. Reduced Maddison to nothing. Didn't threaten in the entire game. And once you cut Maddison out, you cut Leicester out. So I think he did a really, really good job in that. I don't think he was quite on the level of the 9s we've given out. So I'll probably give him an 8 or an 8.5 if I'm being really generous. Let us know in the comments if you agree with this. How do you think he got on today? Because he didn't do his usual, passing masterclass when he has a good game. He wasn't spraying balls left, right, and centre. But he was just breaking up play when he needed to. He had a nice crunching challenge on Perez, which I enjoyed. He was mucking in, getting his boots dirty, and that's what I liked about him today. And we need to see more of it from him, to be honest, because honestly, at this point in time, I wouldn't be sad to see him walk out the door in the summer. I really enjoyed him in the Championship. I think he's a quality player. He's got bring something to the team that we don't have in the team. But I don't know if we can afford to have him in this team. He's a bit of a luxury player. But when he puts in a performance like this, I think he justifies his presence. I don't know if you agree with his lads, but I thought he put in a really hard graft today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just seen someone's put in the comments, and you're absolutely entitled to your opinion, but I don't see where you've seen that he's had a lazy performance today. I've just seen that and nowhere. I think genuinely, I've said it on Twitter. I think ever since he had to answer that question about the fans thinking he's being lazy, he's actually been the complete opposite. I agree, Matt. I thought he put himself about today. Thought he deserved it.
One player that was suggested that maybe shouldn't have made the starting lineup today in favour of Willock was Miguel Almirón. Adam, he's not been on the best run of form recently, but today we looked a little bit brighter.
Yeah, he was the one I would have dropped today and changed things up a bit, but he proved me wrong, to be honest. Again, every time he does have a good game, it's his work rate that does it, but he had that bit quality in his passing today as well. He set up Callum Wilson for his second, and that's what we need from me: more assists, more goals. I thought he looked just his work rate today. I thought it was phenomenal, chasing every ball. I'll give him an 8 today. I thought he had a good solid game today. Considering it's not really his natural position. He was awful last week against Arsenal. So again, it's about that consistency. Same as Shelby, Shelby. It's all about getting. This is the manager's job. He needs to get more consistent performances. I mean, I thought that was Bruce's bit. Our best performance under Bruce. When players are setting the bars like that, like Almirón, he's got to play like that every week, and that's why he lets us down. But no, I thought today he had a good game.
Almirón's a tricky one because I know he splits opinion a lot of the time. We've obviously we've got Liam on the channel who's a big fan of his running. but it's a tricky one because there's obviously rumours saying that he's not happy at the club. Then he's come out and said, "Oh, they're all rubbish. I'm dead happy." If it came down to it, would you cash in on him if it meant investing in other players that we might want to bring into the club? Because he's been here a couple of seasons now. He's not really set the world alight. Obviously, he was good under Rafa. We know he grafts, but it was 20. I think it was 25 mil. Has he justified the price we paid for him?
I wouldn't say he's justified it in scoring goals, but we're a lot. I think we're a lot worse team without him in. He's been a bit out of form recently, but he needs a better manager. Simple as. He's not coached well enough, in my opinion. Again, I'm not going to sit and slate Steve Bruce after a 4-2 win and a great night, but that in Miguel Almirón's case, he needs better coaching and around the pitch, and he's not a centre midfielder. He's got every position really in Newcastle, so I think it's harsh to criticise him on his price tag when he's playing centre midfield now. We signed him as a centre forward number 10, so he just needs better coaching, maybe, really, to be honest. But if Bruce is still going to be here, he's just going to. That's all he tells him to do, run around. That's why he does get the make it home because he just runs, but that's what he's told to do, and that's what he does well.
Well, obviously, if we sign him as a number 10, and Saint-Maximin, I've seen him say this week, he's playing in his preferred position. Alan wants to play as a number 10. We can't play with two false 10s, as we found out earlier in the season. If we can't really have two number 10s in that team, surely if Saint-Maximin's that number 1 spot, Almirón won't be happy playing second fiddle or slotting in at central midfield or on the left wing because they're not his preferred positions. So it's a bit unfair on the lad in this system. He doesn't need to be number 2. He doesn't want to be number 2. So if he did leave in the summer, it wouldn't be too surprising. It would be a shame. Personally, I quite like the lad. I think he's got a lot more to bring to the team. But it wouldn't surprise us to see Newcastle cashing in, and even for 20 mil. Or even less than that, just to put a bit of investment back into the squad elsewhere. Because you cannot see Mike Ashley spending big this summer. If he's spending anything, it'll be from money that he gets from player sales.
So would you sell Miguel Almirón for 20 million to buy Willock on a permanent deal?
I think so.
Personally, yeah.
I think so because I don't know. I love Miggy, I really do, and I think he's been treated badly by the management. I don't think he's used correctly, but you think the trade-off there, Miggy's had a couple of seasons to prove how good he is, and yes, he's been used out of position, but he's not been the best player. He's good, don't get me wrong, he's just not quite Carlin, as the saying goes, but Willock has proven in a very, very short time that he's got that star quality. And there's a reason that he's been at Arsenal since he was a Ben. He's very clearly a talented kid, and he's got the drive to be to the top. And if he wants to do that with us, then that's great. And if that meant we'd have to say goodbye to Almirón to do that, then I don't think it would be the greatest shame in the world.
Good point.
Carl?
Yeah, no, I'm very much the same as both of you. I love Miggy, and I just think he's been failed by the system. We've actually got quite a few decent attacking options, and I think unfortunately, he doesn't fit into the side to benefit him, if that makes sense. As it is right now, I would prefer Miggy to play in the 10 than Maximin, though. I'm not going to lie. I don't think Maximin's as effective in that 10 role. I think he's an out and out winger for me. But yeah, I agree with Adam as well. He needs better coaching. And unfortunately, he's not going to get that here.
Well, you mentioned Saint-Maximin. We'll come to him next. We'll go with you, Carl. But you say he's not. You don't think is number 10 is not his natural position. He didn't have a great game today. It wasn't bad. But you look back at something like the Burnley game, where he absolutely ran the show from that position. It's just whether he can do that week in, week out. And today he showed that it was good that it didn't have to go through him, but he was kind of invisible today, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think for me, mate, when I look at him, he needs people in front of him because his game is to go and beat a man. So when you're playing in that 10 role, if you find yourself just sat short of Callum Wilson, there's no one in front of you. I tend to sometimes just feel like he feels a bit lost, if that makes sense. Like he's got nothing to do. Like he'll go and beat a man or beat 3 men, and then he'll look to whip the ball in or whatever. I just think he struggles to be in the right position and have that next step to think, okay, I've got no one around me, I'm just going to drive at goal. I don't really see that from him from that central position, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but he does it on the wing. I just don't see enough of it from the 10 position. But yeah, I don't think he had a great game tonight. I thought there were sparks in the first half. How he hasn't finished that chance is like stressful.
Don't get us started on that.
But yeah, he hasn't had a terrible game at all. I thought he was pretty quiet in the second half. He's just not nowhere near one of his performances, and I think give him sounds harsh, but 6.5.
Yeah, I think that so far, it's our lowest rating. I think it's fairly justified. Didn't make an impact on the game. The chances that he did have, they went a bit to waste. He was still good to have in the side to get us 5-10 yards up the pitch. But yeah, like you said, didn't really make too much of an impact like he has done in previous games.
I think because you've talked about it yourself. It's frustrating at times because he'll get the ball in that 10 position, but he doesn't get rid of the ball enough to bring the wingers into play, if that makes sense. And I think that's where he falls in that 10 position.
I think in his defence today, I thought it was much more of a team performance from him.
Maybe, yeah.
I felt he was making the simple pass a lot more. Well, obviously he usually gets the ball and we expect him to take 2 or 3 out. And I thought he was much more solid in releasing the ball a bit today and taking the pressure off and getting. Yeah. I agree. It wasn't like the enigma performance where he's going to win us a game like against Burnley, but I thought he contributed a hell of a lot to keep possession at times.
That's a really good point, to be fair, because I was looking on Twitter, obviously, after the game and just seeing people saying how it was such a good thing that he wasn't the star of the show. We can't rely on him every single week. And the fact that he's able to fade into the background without having a negative impact on the team is a good thing. Like he's still there. He's still an attacking outlet, but he was more than happy to let the game flow through him today rather than being the focal point of it. I think that's a really good point that you bring up there, Adam, because although he wasn't, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, whatever, he still had a good game for us, and it wasn't a negative. His role today, he was much more of a team player.
Look, he's one where he could be a 4. As long as he's fully fit, you're going to keep him on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got enough about him to have that flash of brilliance. Ben Arthur was exactly the same. He'd have times he did absolutely nothing. Go and put one top bins from 40 yards out. Yeah. But I don't know. Adam's right. It's sometimes I think we're so spoiled by what he's got that the simple things do go amiss, don't they?
Do you see him in a black and white shirt next season, or do you think he'll be lured away?
I think we've got at least one season out of him. Yeah,
I think so as well. I think we can get. I think if he stays fit next season, could be a good one. Could be an interesting one. And now that Premier League's pretty much all but secured, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously with takeover rumours, management, if it stays the same, be interested to see who stays and who goes and who comes in to build around that team. If we've got Saint-Maximin and Wilson as the attacking talents, there's a lot to build around, especially if you bring in Willock in. And you've already got Dubravka and Lascelles kind of at the back. You've got a solid spine of the team to build around there. So it's an exciting time. You just need a nice manager to put the team together and actually motivate the players. But we'll get on to Steve Bruce later. And last but not least, I'll bypass myself and I'll let you have the honour of marking Callum Wilson today. Adam, what did you make of his performance?
Typical goal scorer's performance. Was it his best overall performance? Probably not, but he's there to score the goals. And they were both just great finishes. Trying to think about the first one now again. I took around the keeper, right? Yeah, brilliant. He was unselfish in playing Maximin as well, where we should have went 1-0 up. Just great to see him back fully fit. We really missed him. Jolinton and Gale are nowhere near the quality he has. 9 out of 10 for me. 2 goals, 4-2 win. What more can you ask of him? Just need to keep him fit.
Yeah, a dangerous striker. He does what he says on the tin, puts the ball in the back of the net. That's all he needs. 12 goals this season. He's been injured for half of it.
He worked really hard as well. Yeah. You could see he was working across the back four, doing the SMs run at times as well. Just looked like he really wanted to win the game. He didn't want 2 consecutive relegations on his CV. And, if it wasn't for him this season, we would have gotten relegated. So,
I think Wilson and Willock have scored goals that have won us an extraordinary amount of points this season between just the two of them. I think chuck Saint-Maximin in there and you pretty much got all of our points. So, good performance. I think he got man of the match on Sky and on BBC today. It was interesting. I was watching his post-match interview after the game, and I was like, he's had a good game today. He obviously did made a lot of runs in that, but I didn't think he did much apart from score the 2 goals. And then it was something like he was first in aerial duels won, he was first in like take-ons, first in like sprints made and stuff like that. It's stuff you don't really notice when you're watching a game. Obviously putting a lot of graft in. We know he's like that, and he's just obviously coming back from fitness. We haven't really seen that in the last couple of games, but it's really nice to see him back fit and firing again. Hopefully he can stay fit for the rest of the season and into the new season as well. Nice to have an actual number 9 back, and hopefully he can actually bloody wear number 9 next season as well. Just fucking scrape it off someone else's back, he who shall not be named. But don't forget in the comments, you can get involved as well. We've been through the starting 11. We'll be getting on to the subs very shortly, and of course, Steve Bruce, get involved. Let us know your ratings for the lads we've already marked. Before we get onto the subs, lad, because I don't think any of them is going to get man of the match. Can I have a man of the match nomination from each of you? We've got a few 9 out of 10s tied. I think it was Wilson, Willock, Richie, and Dubravka all got 9s. I think. So I'll take a nomination from each of you, please.
I've gone with Dubravka, mate.
Fair enough. I think. I mean, personally, I would. I'm torn because I really want to give it to Richie because he's just my favourite player. He's my favourite player. I bloody love him. But I think without Dubravka today, we lose. I think no disrespect to Karl Darlow or Keith Gillespie, but either of them in goal, we're not seeing this game out. 4 fantastic saves from 4 good players, plus a series of commanding saves as well. Yeah, I'd agree with you. But Adam, you gave a few of those players the 9s, so I'm sure you'll have something to say about that.
I mean, obviously Dubravka was classy. He always is. That Vardy save at the end where it would have went to 4-3. God knows. I don't think I could have watched the last few minutes if I'd made that. But for me, 4-2 away win. It's got to go to an outfield play for me, and I thought Joe Willock was fantastic today. And the energy he brings, the energy is. I agree with you, Matt. I wasn't that convinced when he first signed, but he's come on off the bench, few games, scored goals, and today, I think it was the best performance to a degree since Steve Bruce has been in charge of the team, and he played a big part. The amount of energy he brought to that midfield, because he had to do a lot. Shelby's not a grafter, and he does that for him. I'll let you have a final thought, Matt.
Well, I mean, I'll leave it to the guys in the comments because honestly, I cannot choose. I'd probably stick someone else in like Richie or Wilson. So I'll let the comments decide if we'll get a vote going or something.
It's a nice change, to be fair, because usually we have to talk about who's been the worst player. So it's nice.
Definitely. I think we'll put a poll out on the Newcastle Fans TV Twitter because everyone's throwing in different names. Definitely, it is a nice surprise.
It's team performance. That's what it gets you. It's brilliant to see the team actually playing like a team now. For so long this season, they've just looked like individuals that haven't gelled properly, and it looks like in the last month or so, it's finally starting to click. We scraped a few results here and there throughout the season, but now we're actually putting in performances that are worthy of the black and white shirt. We'll move on to the subs very briefly because there was only 3 of them, and 2 of them only played less than 10 minutes. Sean Longstaff came on in the 77th minute. Didn't really do out. Just there, I think he came on bit of height in the box for those set pieces, bit of defensive solidity, kick a few people when they started to run at us. I'd give him a 6 because why not? Sean Longstaff is the most 6 out of 10 player you've ever seen. But yeah, I don't know if you agree with us. I can't remember anything particularly that he did right or wrong.
I mean, it's not his fault per se, but we lost our shape a bit when Willock went off. And obviously, Leicester are always going to have a bit of a spell, but it got a bit uncomfortable for the last 10 minutes than it should have been. And I think we just lost our shape a bit. I said that's not Longstaff's fault. It was just kind of, I think Willock had that much of an influence on the game. But yeah, he was unlucky to be out of the team, but it was the right decision in the end, obviously, with the result. So.
I think that's fair, yeah. And then, I mean, I think we'll give Joe Linton, who came on in the 84th, given an A, yeah, and Hendrick an A. Can we give Jeff Hendrick a minus mark? I think
just for having to come onto the pitch.
I think the only thing that I saw him do was kick the ball out for a throw-in, so that's his only contribution to the game. God, honestly, if he's here next season, I'll be burning something outside St. James's Park. Probably his bloody ponytail. Anyway, no, that's not a threat. I won't, sorry. Right, with the big one, the one that we always look forward to at the end of scoring the players, of course, is Steve Bruce. We all chip in a rating, get the aggregate, easy for you to say, aggregate rating, and just how well he's performed. Usually he's getting minuses and ones for this season, but today, positive results, positive team performance. Some praise has got to be down to the manager, hasn't it, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I say there's nothing going to put me in a bad mood tonight. The only thing is, I really, really would be excited to know what this team could do with a good coach in charge, because I think we've got some quality players, really do. But for tonight, I thought the tactics was fun. I thought we counter-attacked excellently. The subs. Yeah, the subs were the subs. You know, they weren't really influential now. He just made them when he did to try and run the clock down. I slate him, you know, when he's been horrible, and I'll mark him low. So great 4-2 away win tonight against a top Leicester team. You know, it had Vardy, they had Maddison in. I thought we looked dangerous at set pieces, which we never do. We scored a set piece, done with some of the header. So if they've been working on them, credit them. So I'll give them an 8 out of 10. You know, we won. Do I still want him to go? Of course, but I think this team can do so much better. We should never be in the position we've been in.
I mean, you look at the difference. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
Well, I was going to say, you look at the difference at a team like Chelsea. You know, obviously there's not comparisons to the amount of talent they have compared to us, but you look at Frank Lampard, very inexperienced manager, clearly not experienced in working with these kind of players, and they're mid-table struggling with a team that should be realistically challenging for the title. The amount of money that they pumped into that team, and then they go out, sack him halfway through the season, and they get a manager that knows what he's doing. He instantly tactics, training, he's personnel. Tammy Abraham's out, he's in the cold. Ziyech is somehow out of the blue, he's in. Havertz has come in and looks like one of the hottest young kids in Europe. Champions League final, knocking City out the FA Cup. They're flying, and that's the difference. There's no personnel difference, just the manager. Yeah. That's literally all it is. And like you say,
how much you can do.
Yeah,
literally. And it's frustrating. It's really fucking frustrating. Carl, we've got an 8 and 10 from Adam. 8 out of 10 from Adam. Sorry. Yeah, Steve Bruce. How do you think you did?
I'll bash him when I need to, and I'll give him credit as well. I was a bit perturbed, would be the word, that he dropped Sean Longstaff over Jonjo Shelvey or Miggy, because I agree both of them were out of form. But I thought it worked really well tonight. Everything was pretty much bang on. And I think Andrew said about it in the comments as well. Like Matt Ritchie, and we've all said how much of a difference he's made since he's been back into the side. Steve Bruce could have frozen him out the side if he wanted to after what had gone on, and he hasn't. So I do, I know he's the manager and he should be a professional, but I'll give him credit for doing that. Like he didn't have to. He could have been a child about it. He could have just frozen him out of the squad. He hasn't. He's given the opportunity. He's put him in that starting position. And he's given every opportunity to be the leader that he is, and because of that, arguably we're staying in the Premier League with Joe Willock, of course. But I think Matt Ritchie has had a massive involvement in that, and a lot of that comes from Steve Bruce. So yeah, again, tactically, I can't it's been working. The system that we're playing has been working. We spoke about it a few weeks before. People were saying that the substitutions he was making, he should be making them, but the difference was throughout from the start and the middle of the season, he wasn't making those substitutions at those times, and he has been making them, and they've been working, and from results they've been the right decisions. So I'll agree with Adam. I'll give him an 8 tonight. I don't think he really put a foot wrong, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much captured my thoughts exactly. Yeah, me and Lee were on talking about the lineups to start with, and he asked us if what I thought about 5 at the back, and I said I'm not bothered. 5 at the back, you got coming up against third in the league, you know, good form, cup final a couple of weeks away. They're obviously talented little squad. Why not 5 at the back? You've got your attacking outlets. They're in the team. Obviously, they're dropping Sean for Willock. I mean, Willock obviously deserved to start, but personnel-wise, obviously that was a bit flawed.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know, he's got it right today, and I think we were massively helped today by Johnny Evans' injury. Not only because 1, he wasn't in there, but 2, that meant they had to change their complete tactical approach to the game. They'd have been training all week with a back 5. With 2 strikers, like a 5-3-2 with the bombing fullbacks, and because of that injury, they had to go to a flat back 4 today, so the fullbacks couldn't get into the game. So obviously we were helped by that, but we set up to contain them, and we contained them. We reduced them to maybe 5 dangerous shots, 2 of which went in, and I think that's obviously down to the team today. The team put in a solid graft, but the way we were set up today was to contain, and we did that, and we hit them on the break. We were a counter-attacking team today, and we played it to perfection, and I think that's what he wants us to do most weeks. We just don't bloody do it. My only gripe is game management. Shocking game management yet again. Subs coming in the 77th minute, for Christ's sake. Like, you're 4-0 up, fair enough. You think you're cruising, but then they nick 2 goals in. You think a 3rd goes in. That's when you're in trouble. 77th minute. I mean, you've got Kieran Clark sat on the bench. You've got Lewis, who admittedly isn't the best player in the world, but Richie's played some solid games after not being in the squad. He's obviously going to be knackered. Get Lewis on for some fresh legs. You've even got Andy Carroll. Lump it up to Andy Carroll, this classic Steve Bruce tactic. Stick him on. You know, but instead you're taking off Joe Willock. Fair enough. That's fine. That you're changing the shape of the team by bringing Sean Longstaff on, which you pointed out earlier. Change the shape and let them back into the game. It's just the game management. Steve Bruce, you know, he said it himself. He doesn't do tactics. He was just grinding it out. He didn't know what to do when Leicester were playing long ball football at the end. They changed their game. We didn't adapt to it. And you know, they could have come back if Vardy scores his chip against Dubravka earlier in the game. That's 4-3. They've got more to win. They're playing for something. We're not really at this point in the season. They're playing for Champions League football. So the game management of today was shocking, and that is my only criticism. However, credit where is credit. God, I can't speak tonight. Credit where credit is due. Yeah, I think an 8 out of 10 is a solid rating for Steve Bruce. I'd maybe give him higher, but I don't want to do that because it's Steve Bruce. I still want him out. I still want him gone. Come first game of the season next season. Still gonna have
Steve Bruce out on the score.
Yeah. And it really frustrates me because I know your mates are chiming in on the watch along, but my mates are texting me saying, slap that 8-year contract on the table, get him done. Honestly.
That's a scary thing. That's a scary thing. He will get a new deal as well.
Yeah.
There's no way Mike Ashley's going to let any manager go into a last year. We know what he's like. I can see a new 1 or 2 deal being agreed as soon as we mathematically see it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's about all we've got time for here on Scoring the Players. Thanks very much for everyone for I was going to say laughing, for watching. I'm really losing the plot here. It's past my bedtime. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for chiming in the comments as well, for agreeing or disagreeing with us, calling me whatever kind of names you are. Don't forget, if you haven't already, drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. We've got Lee with the last word coming up next. I believe Sam is also sent over a little clip for that as well. But next, we've got Man City, a very easy game of Man City coming up. Score predictions quickly from you lads before we go. Carl, we'll go for you first.
I was going to try and be optimistic then, but no, I'll go 3-0 Man City.
Oh, Christ. Okay, here we go. Adam?
I was going to say it's at home or away, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, it's same as Carl, really. I think it's no matter how well we play, the best team in the world at the minute. So
yeah,
not the currently the best team in the world. So yeah, 3-0. As long as we put a bit of fight up, I don't mind. I don't mind getting beat off City as long as we just, it's not an embarrassment and we look like we're trying to do something.
Where's the PMA, guys? Where's the positive mental attitude?
It's Geordie Sandcastle. Like, as I was saying it in my head, I thought he's going to bash me in the comments.
Fuck it, we'll go. We 1-0 Newcastle. We're going to steal it. We're going to play the kids, and we're going to nick it from them. Fuck it, why not? But thanks very much for joining us tonight, lads. And like I said, thanks everyone for tuning in as well. I'm Matt. That's Carl. That's that. Wait, other way. That's Carl. That's Adam. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.